It's movie night. You're all dressed up. The guests are going to arrive in just a few hours. But you blew the budget on an old school home entertainment system because somebody insisted that Laserdisc is the only way to truly appreciate The Princess Bride.
Inconceivable!
With little money and little time to spare, what dish can we serve our guests to show that we are the savviest cinephile soiree host in town?
Pizza's okay.
Man,
Where did I leave that apron? Oh, hi. Ah, here we are. I may not be a professional chef, but I did spend several years in New York City.
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
Famously, the only city in the world where pizza is made, according to New Yorkers. While in New York, I studied pizza making at one of its most venerated institutions, the Internet. And when I left the city, I left with nothing but the clothing on my back and this handwritten recipe for pizza dough, and all my possessions. In the long time since I first made this recipe, I've lost touch with the original source, but I'm going to recreate it today from the best of my memory. And while I do, we'll discuss what makes New York pizza so special. Now, where's that frying pan? Here is everything you need to prepare your movie night pizza dough. Oh, except for this. Very simple ingredients. Bread flour, baking powder, salt, sugar, and yeast. Oh, and we'll also need some water. Bread flour is preferred, but if you're on a tight budget and only have all-purpose flour available, try that anyway. This is street food, okay? Start out with basic, cheap ingredients, and if it tastes good with that, then you can slowly start to experiment and work in more expensive, finer quality ingredients as you wish.
As you wish!
There are a variety of ways of making pizza dough and pizza. If you go online and search, you'll find all kinds of tips and tricks, some seemingly that contradict each other. So you know what? Don't worry. Just try it out. Have fun. The worst possible thing you can do is be like this guy. You making a New York style pizza there? Oh boy, fun fact, I once did a study abroad one summer in Coney Island, so I know a thing or two about pizza. And let me tell you, it's not true New Yorker pizza unless the water used to make the dough is exactly 5 degrees centigrade and the salt is locally sourced from the back sweat of a dock worker in Hell's Kitchen who's overstayed a tourist visa by at least 10 years. Yup. To get started on the dough, prepare a wet bowl and a dry bowl. For the dry bowl, simply stir the ingredients together. For the wet bowl, stir the sugar into the warm water until dissolved. Then add the yeast. The recipe calls for 1/8 of a packet, which I have figured out to be slightly larger than 1/4 of a teaspoon, or about 1½ grams. Do not stir the yeast. Just set aside for 10 minutes. One of the most pernicious rumors about the source of the quality for New York pizza is actually water. People have long asserted that the quality of the local tap water is one of the reasons New York pizza is so great. Now look, I don't mean to brag, but I have tried the municipal tap water in more than a few locations, and let me tell you, that lacks the clean bouquet of an East Coast. It's actually kind of metallic. Let's see. Oh yeah, Very, very rusty on the front of the palate with notes of ennui. I'm going to say that's got to be Muncie, Indiana, right? Yeah, I really don't think it's the tap water. Once the yeast and sugar have bathed in warm water for 10 minutes, we can mix into the dry bowl. You can start with a spoon or your hands. But be sure to cover your hands with flour before proceeding. Sometimes the dough gets rather sticky, so I like to have some spare flour on hand in case. Once formed into a ball, we place it on a hard, lightly floured surface and begin kneading. Kneading is tough work, and it takes a real tough New York attitude to do it properly. Who's this guy, huh? This guy, hey, comes rolling onto my countertop like he thinks he's something special. What kind of dough you think you is anyway, huh? Think you're gonna be some birthday cake for the king of Staten Island or something? Nah, newsflash, there ain't no king and yous ain't gonna be no birthday cake. I'll tell you what kind of dough yous is. You know what kind of dough yous is? Whatever kind of dough I want yous to be, that's what kind of dough yous is. Hey, this guy. You'll want to continue berating your dough like this for about 10 minutes, or until your partner in the other room threatens to leave you for someone who doesn't have a YouTube channel. Next, we lightly brush a large bowl with olive oil and roll around the dough in the bowl to make sure that it is entirely covered in olive oil. You can brush the dough with extra oil as well to make sure that it's completely covered. Then cover the bowl and prepare to set aside. Now that we have kneaded and thoroughly humiliated the dough, it's time to set it aside in one of the dark corners of our house where the sun does not shine. Oh, thank you. This is an integral part of the process that I'll explain. We've set aside the dough and are letting it rest to allow a process called proving. Think of proving like the workout montage phase of the recipe. The yeast and sugars combine and work together to ferment and provide a more flavorful and pliable dough. At room temperature, it takes about an hour up to 3. At colder temperatures, it takes much longer, and you can use this to your advantage if you want to plan ahead and save time on the day of the party. Proving in the refrigerator takes at least 1 full day, and you can leave it in there for several more if you want to. This dough has proved for a couple of hours, and based on the texture, I think it could have used a little more time, but I have guests to feed. When stretching out the dough, it's good to have the pan handy to make sure the sizing is correct. We can stretch it, press it into the table, and even toss it around to get it into shape. If stretching results in tears in the dough, don't worry. You can patch that up with dough from thicker sections. We want to cover the pan with the outer edges a little thicker than the middle. While stretching, we can start preheating the oven. I have mine set to 230 Celsius or about 450 Fahrenheit. Once I have the dough to the size I want, I place the cast iron pan upside down in the middle rack so it can warm up with the oven. Then, I make sure that the sauce and toppings are ready. As for toppings, there are a few old standards you can't go wrong with. Simple tomato-based sauce and fresh mozzarella with some herbs, perfect. But as for me At my cinephile soirées, I prefer to leave out an assortment, a wide variety of New York traditional pizza toppings and let my guests choose for themselves according to their taste.
When you're here, you're family.
For this pizza, I'm going with 2 cheeses, mozzarella that I patted dry with paper towels, and Colby Jack I shredded off camera. I'm topping the cheese with a mix of button and oyster mushrooms that have been pan-seared in advance. The sauce is a plain tomato sauce straight from the can. I like to coat the bottom of the warmed pan with olive oil to help the bottom of the pizza develop a stiff, firm texture. New Yorkers love nothing more than a stiff, firm bottom. Working carefully to not touch the pan, we add the sauce, then the cheese, then the toppings. You might ask, how many mushrooms are too many? And I tell you, I have guests coming and I need them to understand that I'm a fun guy. Next, I like to brush the edge in olive oil and sprinkle with salt. This helps elevate what is otherwise the most disregarded part of the pizza, the crust, into something delightful. Now it's time to bake. While we wait for the pizza, I'll share a few words on what I think makes New York pizza unique. Personally, I don't think there's a magic ingredient that makes New York pizza special. I think it's largely a factor of history and practice. Pizza originates from Italy, as do many New York families, naturally eager to maintain culinary ties to their homeland. But with the high population density in Manhattan comes higher cost of living, especially rent, making already difficult restaurant budgeting even harder. With easy-to-source, affordable ingredients and a quick turnaround time, pizza makes a lot of sense, especially when marked up and sold by the slice to an ever-bustling, busy population looking for a quick bite on the go. And if you're in New York and looking for a quick bite, I recommend just going to whatever local pizza place is within walking distance. Sure, you can wait an hour for whatever the yuppies on Yelp are yapping about, or you can just walk around. There's plenty to choose from. If you don't like your first pizza, there's gonna be another one right around the corner. My 10-minute timer just buzzed, so I need to make sure the pizza is doing all right. Looks good, but needs just a few more minutes. And at 13 minutes, we have the final product. If you prefer more crispiness on the bottom, you can heat the pan on the range for a little bit after you finish in the oven. But as for me, I'm satisfied with this initial test result. This is a complete mess, and I can't wait to cut into it and try it out. Is this a perfect recipe? No. Is it perfectly executed? No. Is it pizza? Yes. And that's all that matters. Try it yourself, mix things up, have some fun with this. Alright, I'm going to cut this up and let you know how it tastes. Pizza is sliced and ready to eat. I am choosing to pair it with this glass of red wine. Let's see how it tastes. This is more than fit for human consumption. I highly recommend it. Make pizza for your guests, and they will keep coming back for more. Some of them may never leave. Oh, What a delicious album that was. Oh, you're still alive. Subscribe and support the channel. And hey, if you'd like to watch another video in the intersection of food and entertainment, check out this linked playlist or this video.